street is in tatters.
In short, Russia has lost. It's already lost.
This terrorist Putin.
Никто по существу не хотел разговаривать. Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.
E estamos ao vivo. Finalmente, depois de um ano e meio, gente, que eu tô tentando trazer esse que é um dos maiores analistas geopolíticos da atualidade. E finalmente conseguimos organizar o nosso tempo para vir aqui juntos. Eu não vou fazer uma introdução para vocês, eu vou deixar que ele faça a introdução, porque vocês sabem que eu sou horrível nisso, mas vou só dizer que estava esperando isso há muito tempo. Então, sem mais delongas, vou trazer para a tela aqui nosso amigo Alex Cristoforo, from the Duran. Kalimera, sir!
Calimera.
How are you
Kalispera.
doing? Kalispera.
How are you?
Kalispera.
I'm doing great.
Kalosites.
Doing
Kaisef
great.
Karistopoli.
You're Greek.
Yeah, I trained one
Perfecto.
thing that this is the kind of thing that I always do here. I try to bring a little bit of people's culture when I have people from everywhere around the world.
Mhm.
And today I'm having, the guy. It's not some guy. It's the guy. The best geopolitics analyst, especially on diplomacy issues, and the second best geopolitical beard as well.
True. Second, maybe third. I think there's some other people who have a better beard.
No. You have Kevork, and that's it. That's number one.
I was thinking you. Okay,
No,
so I'm third. I'm third or fourth down the line.
No, I'm for sure not even among the 20,
Man,
the 50 ones.
Starting to get some gray. I think you're getting some gray too. Yeah.
Get used to it. I'm getting gray and losing the roof, so
Yeah. Oh man.
time's not being so gentle. How are you doing, Alex?
Doing great.
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me on. I am honored and very happy to finally connect with you on YouTube, on many platforms. Actually, I think you're streaming to a lot of platforms.
Yeah, I'm streaming to YouTube, Rumble. I'm kind of in a bad foot with Rumble recently, but BitChute, Odyssey, Shitter,
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, what else? I don't know.
That's
Everywhere.
That's a lot.
Everywhere.
Yeah. That's a lot.
People know it's everywhere. You know the drill. It's
Well
terrible.
done. Well
So
done.
just for people to understand, this interaction between me and Alex started almost 2 years ago. I wrote to Alex. I was going to Greece, and he was in Greece, and I said, "Can we meet?" I was planning the channel. I was still planning the channel, and I wanted to have a conversation to understand some technicalities and the dynamics of YouTube, all this stuff. But it was the day I arrived on Greece, on Athens. You have, I think, 1 or 2 days before you have moved to Cyprus again. And then I went to Cyprus on vacations. We were just talking about that in the backstage now, and we didn't meet because I went to Ayanapa, and that's too far away from here. And to go to know someone that you don't know, you do not cross a country to do that.
Yeah.
And then we've been trying to arrange this live stream. I'm kind of, I have now some stalkers, not stalkers. So I was like, okay, these guys are like me with Alex some time ago, especially Julio. It's a very nice guy. Yeah. It's not stalker whatsoever. It's not. It's just the way we have this dynamic here.
Yeah.
Alex, no, I have to thank you to come here. It's a great pleasure. I have been following you guys, you, Alexander, and the Duran, and it's my daily view. I can jump some other analysts, but I do not miss your program, your shows every day. You know, since the time when Alexander's programs were like 40 minutes. Now it's
yes. I remember that. That's when we didn't have as much news, I guess. Now it's
simpler
hard to keep up.
times. Simpler times.
Yeah, it's gotten more difficult with Trump, actually. I think Biden was easier.
It was more predictable.
More
Putin was
predictable.
right.
Yeah, Putin was right. Biden was more predictable, and Trump has added on to the news flow for all of us.
Yeah, and he does it on purpose. He does it on purpose. It's the marketing guy. What's his name? He has the name of action figures. Stanley. I don't remember, the marketing supervisor, the one that also took care of Bolsonaro's campaign in Brazil 2 elections ago.
Oh yeah. I think I know.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe in the chat. I'm sure in the comments in the chat they'll.
Yeah, if you guys remember the name of the marketing guy from Trump, right here in the comments. Don't forget.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the Duran. If you do not follow the Duran, you're making a mistake. Go follow the Duran. And Alex Cristoforo as well, on his own channel.
And Alexander Mercuris.
And Alexander Mercuris, of course, on his own channel. Yes. All the links on the description.
Yes.
Alex, I would really, I've already heard this a couple of times in other interviews you did, but I would like for you to tell the Brazilians how did this idea started? The Duran, your geopolitical channel. You guys are around for like 9 years already. Almost.
We've been around for a while, but the actual channel, like actually doing videos, we started in. I'm so bad with dates. I think the middle of 2018, the beginning of 2019 is when we actually started to do videos, like seriously do videos. Before that, we were writing articles, actually. We were bloggers, journalist bloggers. Yeah.
And then this idea of, I have contact with some Brazilian bloggers as well that just, they just changed the key switch to YouTube because YouTube was giving much more views even to the blog itself. Exactly. And it was interesting when I started following you guys. You had a lot of other co-participants, like the Drazen. What was this? That
we had guests. We had guests on, but one thing that we realized is that the chemistry. Mm-hmm. Well, not even the chemistry between me and Alexander. We really enjoy it, and it's simpler. In a way, I mean, when you have a lot of guests on, it does take a lot of coordination and work. A lot of channels, they actually have producers who actually help out in booking and getting people on and coordinating the time. One of the big challenges, as you must know, is coordinating time zones with people. I mean, it's hard enough finding a common time for everybody. But then you have to go through all the time zones and figuring out when to do the videos. We still enjoy having guests. I mean, we do a live show once or twice a week, consistently. Yeah. But the recorded videos, I think those are something that we just got into a good groove with me and Alexander, and it works. It works out well.
Yeah, the chemistry, as you said, the chemistry is it's fantastic. I always see that, I have an order that I like to follow. I sometimes I wait for the last video to come out because I like to start watching your video, then the Duran, then Alexander.
That's how I do it.
That's how you do it as well. Because you give the broad perspective,
Yeah.
and then you have some very detailed analysis on the Duran, and then you have Alexander like having this very complicated analysis of some dynamics, some lawyer stuff that I don't understand because I'm a technical guy. I'm not into law, but I have to watch it entirely. And I was kidding, but now it came from 40 minutes a day to 1 hour and a half nowadays.
He explains things very, very well.
Very well.
And you can
exactly.
see the legal training. One thing, like when you listen to someone like Alexander or Robert Barnes, I mean, that's when you understand the education, the power of being trained in legal stuff, in how to present the case and how to present an argument. And when you listen to them, you understand that there's a different way that they've been educated in how to present an argument, and they do it very well.
Yeah, it's my mind does not work like that.
Mine neither. Yeah.
and it's sometimes
yeah.
I had to, because I'm also, from my understanding, you have graduation in economics, right?
Economics, but
you're more.
I went straight into tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went straight into tech, and then I went into journalism. I ended up in journalism through tech, but I don't have that legal training, and I'm probably not the best speaker as well. I've never been a good public speaker either, and I've never been very extroverted either. So I got all these things stacked against me. We'll sit at a table one day, Marcelo, and you'll see I'll be the quiet one.
I totally believe, because I am also more or less like that. But I was really. I would not say afraid, because I don't think you would be someone rude, but I've seen you in other interviews, and you're usually very, more or less like myself, contained. And I was like, how can I bring this to life? And so far, this is so relaxing conversation, and this is one thing that I'm always proud of my channel. I always can get relaxed conversation from my guests, from my friends. The harder people comes here, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about other harder people, and they just go with the flow. It's fun to do that.
That's a talent. Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's
why
one of the
happened.
untouchable. It's one of the things that you just can't. Either you have it or you don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah, but talking about even interviews, I watched one interview with you that was in Greek, with Greek. I don't know if Greek or Cyprus journalist, and it was a long time ago, about 2 years ago. And one thing that I found very interesting on that interview is that you mentioned the Cyprus life, the Cyprus way of life. And that brought me very like the Rio de Janeiro, where I'm from, lifestyle. You have the beach, you have coconut water, and you relax. And this is very interesting to understand how people behave on these places, and how do you think this not only the Cyprus people, but also the Greeks. I see this here in Italy as well. Do you think this, people are too apathetic or apathetic? I don't know if I said it right. To the situation that's going on, and do you think they can wake up at some point Do you see this? You go to the streets. Sometimes I see that people recognize you, talk to you, and all that. Do you see this on the people of Cyprus, Greece?
Cyprus, not so much. I don't get I don't get recognized much in Cyprus, and when I do talk to people about politics, maybe because it's a small island and they're just so focused on the local community, the politics is very local. They do follow what's going on in the world, and obviously it's important. But for Cyprus, it's hyper local, and when it does get into any type of geopolitics, it's always focused on the Cyprus problem and Cyprus and Turkey and resolving that problem, and it pretty much stays there. In Greece, I would say there's more of a discussion about what's going on in Europe and the United States. I think Greeks are, because they have a much larger diaspora as well. A lot of Greeks in Australia, a lot of Greeks in the United States, a lot of Greeks in Canada, a lot of Greeks in the UK as well. And because we're more on in mainland Europe, I guess you would say, and Cyprus is kind of off the beaten track from Europe. We're not even in Schengen in Cyprus. So the Greeks are, in my opinion, are more open, more interested to discuss what's happening in the world outside of just Greece. Are they waking up? They know what's happening. Greeks and Cypriots, I think we have a really good understanding of the games that are being played. We're very shrewd, we're very clever. It's just part of the location that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be that way. But over the past, I would say, and I think Italy is probably very similar. At least I have some very good Italian friends who tell me the same thing. Over the past 10, 15 years, the EU has kind of beaten the hope out of people. There was a time 15 years ago when we would fight. I mean, the Greeks were, they would be out on the streets. They would be protesting. They would march for their rights. All these things. And I'm not saying violent. I'm saying peaceful.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some things, sometimes it would get violent. This is true. Sometimes things would get violent. But, we had that in there. We had that fire in our belly.
Mm-hmm.
After 2010, with the crisis, 2009-10, which also swallowed up Italy, it got Portugal, it got Greece, it got Ireland, it got Cyprus. After that, the Greeks lost something, the Cypriots lost something. And it's just kind of this apathy, like you said. And it's more of we know what the Greeks always tell you, the Cypriots will tell you, we know what they're doing to us. We know that things are bad, but we're just going to wait it out. And when Europe collapses, when the EU collapses, then, we'll be okay.
Then
we're
we're
not
free.
going to change anything. Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of waiting for it to collapse. Is it going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever? We'll sit, we'll have a coffee, we'll hang out, we'll hang it on the beach, and when it collapses, it'll collapse. Yeah, they're not looking to change anything.
Yeah, here in Italy, the idea, and I think you guys discussed this already as well on the channel, and I totally agree with that. The Italians, they are used to have, traditional work, like producing their own salami or their own wine or whatever, their own food. They cook, they don't buy industrial, they are not. So when things collapse, this is the thing that kind of saves the country. The people organizing around the basics. And I think Italy has this thing still very, but that was worldwide. What you just said. When I think about Brazil, we had, the coup, the political coup against Dilma Rousseff, then 2 years of Temer, then Bolsonaro, and then things got completely out of rail. Then Lula's back. People are just tired. What I can recently feel after Lula, I'm not there. I'm talking more from what I hear from people. But it looks like people got tired of politics. I don't want to. 4 years from now, we see what's happening. I don't care anymore. It's
so chaotic. It's so chaotic what's going on, and it's so depressing what's going on. And yeah, you're right. Whether you're looking at Brazil or whether you're looking at Italy or Greece, these countries, we've just been trampled on year after year by our leaders, and sometimes not even our leaders. So sometimes people from outside who are dictating to us. It gets tiring, and it's on a very personal level too. It's not just on a political elite. It's not oligarch going against oligarch, where you can just sit there and say, okay, whatever. These two uber rich guys are fighting. Who cares? Or these two big politicians are fighting. No, they're going after your money. They're going after your savings. They're going after your livelihood. It's very personal. The wars that have been waged on the people have been very, very personal.
Yeah. How do you wake up every day and produce these fantastic videos with such a great humor in the middle of that? I try. That was a great inspiration to myself. But sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes I talk to, I do some, chip chat live stream, and I talk to people. I'm just tired of watching disgrace. How do you keep going, keep walking?
I don't know. I don't talk to many people, to be quite honest. I don't talk to many people. I just, if you don't laugh, you cry. I say that all the time. So
that's a Brazilian saying as well.
Yeah. It's a okay. Yeah. And you know what else? You joke around, you smile, you laugh. I'm a big believer in the power of body language, and it is true. You can be very, very upset about things and very depressed about many, many things, whether they're personal, whether they're going on in politics or your community. But if you laugh and you smile about things, even just your facial expressions, it changes your mood and your outlook. Do problems go away? No. Obviously they don't go away, and sometimes you have to think about things and make decisions about things. Sometimes you have to make very big decisions, and sometimes things are just completely out of your control, like what we cover. We cover things which are really out of our control. Yeah. Right. But my attitude with my channel is I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the most extroverted person in the world. I'm not the best analyst in the world, but if I can just put out a good show every day and just give good information, and maybe people that are watching, if they kind of laugh along with me or laugh at the stupid stuff that I say, the people in the comments that make fun of me or say, oh, you're being ridiculous, or you say stupid stuff. I know that I'm joking around. That's fine. I'm not so concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the people that are watching, and if they can, watch my video for 30 minutes and just kind of come out of that video, and the little pressure is released. It's all good.
As I was telling you before, I have this weekly show more or less with Larry Johnson, and Larry Johnson is hilarious.
Yeah, he has an excellent sense of humor.
He has an excellent sense of humor, and I post it on TikTok. I do the chops and post it on TikTok as well. And someone just comment, "You laugh too much." Well, dude.
Good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Good.
Yeah.
And please.
No. I mean, on the laughing thing, I remember when I first moved to Greece, and I came from the U.S. and I moved to Greece. And in the U.S. when I was living there, you were taught as a kid to laugh and to smile, right? That's what I was taught in my school and in my family. Smile, laugh. Mm-hmm. It's good to do these things. In Greece, when I went to Greece, it's a lot of the Greek culture is you laugh amongst your friends, But when you're out in public, when you're doing it, back when I first moved to Greece, it was, everyone was very, so when you would go out at night and, you would go to the cafes or the bars or something like that, if you were a guy, you had to present yourself as very serious. And I remember I was at one cafe bar, and one of my buddies was there, Greek guy. And he's like, dude, stop smiling. Stop smiling, man. People are going to be looking at you like you're some stupid guy. I'm like, what do you want me to do, man? I'm out. It's like, look serious. If you look serious, it's better.
I don't even know if I can do that. I would look very stupid.
Okay. I'm like, oh boy, maybe I didn't move to the right country.
No, you definitely should have moved to Brazil. That's for sure.
I have two of my best friends are, one of my best friends lived in Brazil for 5 years. Another one of my best friends is from Brazil.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't been yet, which is odd, but I get along really well with people from Brazil. At least I think I do. I'll go and visit and see.
Well, so far, I think we're doing well here. So I think we're not very hard to.
I think it's the same attitude that they have. I think the Brazilian attitude is very much like the Southern European attitude. In Mexico, I think they have the same type of attitude. I lived in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Just take life as it comes and just try to just be as happy as you can be.
Yeah, years ago, because when all these things started, the SMO, because I was never too keen into geopolitics. I was taking care of my business. And when all this started, I have a Russian friend from CERN, where I used to work for a couple of years, that I called him and said, dude, what's going on? Exactly when the SMO started. Dude, what's going on? And I was even joking with him, just call your uncle, tell him to go back home, Uncle Vlad. And that we always had a very, very relaxed type of relation. And at that moment, he was very serious. He said, I cannot, things are sad, but sometimes things need to happen. And then I got curious, what the hell is going on? Because he looked too serious to me. And then he sent me a video from Gonzalo Lira. And that's when basically I started to understand what was going on. I saw the videos and I started following Gonzalo Lira's channels, multiple channels. That's where I came to meet the Duran. That's when I came to meet, Larry Johnson, and everybody that now come to the channel was basically came from Gonzalo. Yeah. And at some point, I think I even commented that in your video, or Alexander, or even in all the channels of the Duran, you guys are a drop of sanity for everyday life for people. The work that you do is really very important. The way that you do is a drop of sanity on this crazy world. And now, interestingly enough, I have a very small channel and I'm here for 1.5 years, something like that. But I have people commenting this in my channel. And this is so, feels so good. This is the kind of thing that we have to grab, that we are doing something amazing. That not me. I'm just, trying, but you guys are doing something amazing. But let's talk about some politics. Let's go to the bad part of the interview.
Let's do it.
Some geopolitics.
There's so much going on. Where to begin?
Where to begin? I would like to begin with Victory Day.
Yes.
That's less than 48 hours from now. And that smells so bad to me. Well, how do you think the developments of the international relations and the crazy people and, the Eastern reason, let's call it like that. How do you see the developments of this particular point of time that we are about to reach?
Well, we've got to get through May 9th and May 10th. There's a lot of tension as to what's going to happen. Will Ukraine actually try to strike Moscow with some sort of a drone or something? The chances are slim that they'll get anything through, but you don't know. We don't know. They've received a lot of warnings from the United States. Allegedly, the United States has warned Ukraine. Who knows? But I think now it's confirmed that China has definitely not warned Ukraine. They actually went through France and Great Britain, and they told France and the UK, "You better tell your puppet to stop talking this nonsense. Yeah, to behave." It looks like Zelensky's not behaving. It looks like he's not behaving because every day we're seeing drone strikes trying to penetrate Moscow, trying to scare off people, trying to scare off world leaders. He's trying to take some part of Kursk as well. He's sending just wave after wave of soldiers to certain annihilation, which shows you how much he cares about his military, by the way. But he's sending them into certain annihilation just so he could occupy just some piece of Russian territory, so he can come out with some sort of a statement and say that Ukraine has captured some part of Russian territory during the May 9th parade. It just shows you how much of the war that was conducted and that is being conducted by the Zelensky regime and by the collective West is about optics and media and media spin. But that's the war. When you take a step back, though, that's the war that they can win, and that's why they focus so much on it. One thing that we're realizing about NATO, about the collective West, even with the United States and what's happened in Yemen recently, is that when it comes to the reality of conflict, they don't do very well. But where they really excel is on the media optics information side of things.
Yeah, Trump just basically declared victory against the Houthis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we won.
Yeah, sure. If he says it, if he says it, okay. If he can get all of the media channels to report this as well, great. You know, there'll be people that a majority of people will believe it. That was the point of the statement. And you know, when he made that statement, I couldn't help but think that this is exactly what he is trying to do with Ukraine. It's not that Trump doesn't want to stop the war. It's not that Trump likes war. He doesn't. I believe he doesn't like war. I believe he wants to. If he was given a choice to stop the conflict in Ukraine, I believe he would choose to stop the conflict in Ukraine. I think there's a lot of forces at work that are pushing and pulling in different directions, and he's not confident enough to handle all of these different forces. And I think he's looking for a way to spin the conflict in Ukraine to be like what he just said about Yemen. He's looking for a way. He couldn't get it in the ceasefire. Because Russia's looking for a solution that's long-term and addresses the root causes. Trump wasn't looking for that. He's looking for an announcement that he can make to the media, which will extract him from this mess that the U.S. is in, without making the big decision. I think that's the key part. He's unable to make the big decision, which is to walk away. He can't do it for various reasons. He just can't do it. So he's looking for another way out. And I think the Houthi Yemen thing kind of gave us a glimpse as to what he's trying to do with a much deeper conflict, a real war. I mean, Houthis, they're hitting ships, but what's going on in Ukraine is a huge war.
He's perhaps, trying out how this thing of the Houthis, which is a small deal for him, how this is going to spin out to see how it's going to work it out with Ukraine.
Yeah.
More or
I mean,
less.
take a look at both situations. Like take a step. Okay, so once on the one hand, you have this big war that is happening in Europe. On the other hand, you have the Houthis who are hitting ships in in the Red Sea. But in both instances, there are forces in the White House who would like the United States to not deal with these things and focus on America first. But there are powerful forces, maybe even more powerful forces in the White House and in Congress, the neocon forces that are saying, no, we need to escalate. We need to escalate in Ukraine, and we need to escalate in Yemen. We need to escalate in Ukraine because it's really not about Ukraine. It's about regime change in Russia. And we need to escalate with Yemen because it's not really about Yemen. It's about regime change in Iran. And so they're very different dynamics, obviously, very different dynamics. But in back of this is really the same type of forces at work, at play here. And here you have Trump, and he's trying to approach them in a very similar manner. He's saying, I can't really go against the neocons, but maybe I can find a way out of this. Or am I just going to have to default and escalate? So this is where we are with both scenarios.
Yeah, I think all the scenarios. It really, I was having a conversation just today. I was watching your last before the last video with Alexander on the Duran channel, and you were saying exactly this. The guy is not fixing anything. 100 days. First of all, he would end the war in Ukraine in a week. Then, perhaps we're going to have 100 days. We met 100 days and nothing. And he hasn't fixed, smallest things. Ukraine, as I think you perfectly said it, Ukraine was very easy. Just, we're out. We don't want. We never want. This was never our war because until, end of last year, it was forbidden to say it was a proxy war. Now it's his war. Now it's becoming his war. I watched the other day an interview with Doug McGregor, where he says something very interesting. That's, we don't know because we do not, when I say we, I say me. I don't have access to these kind of people, insiders. But Doug McGregor said something very interesting, that he was talking to someone he knows that works for the White House, and this someone was telling him, we need one little victory to Trump. One little one. And it looks like this little one that's not coming, this little victory that's not coming from anywhere, is just keeping them bogged down on everything. Plus, they... out of nowhere, he started the tariff war with China. What do you think about this? This is completely insane in my view. How do you see this?
Yeah. He's not, correctly, you said it, he's not fixing the problems in foreign policy, and he's opening up new battles, an economic battle with China. To be fair to Trump and his administration, he started off really well with Ukraine. Okay, he made the decision, and we said it for a long time, that the correct decision would have been if on January 21st, his first announcement was, I'm out of this. That would have been the correct decision. He didn't do it. Okay, we accept it.
Biden war.
Yeah. Okay, fine. We accept it. But at least he came into it saying, I'm not going to walk away, okay? But at least he said, I'm going to talk to Russia, and I'm going to have dialogue with Russia. And he did that. And he spoke to Putin. And as you said, we now understand that, people that haven't been following the war so closely understand this was and is indeed a proxy war, that this is Russia fighting against all of NATO, that this is Russia at war with the United States. The New York Times has reported on this. The Washington Post has reported on this. So everyone now understands the situation. Everyone now understands who Zelensky is. But it's there. That's where it stayed. And it just seems that he's, for some reason, he's not prepared. Forces more powerful than him are not letting him. I don't know. I can't explain it. But for some reason, the administration is not taking the next and final step that will extract the United States from this mess. And they're heading for a big loss if they don't get out of this. And with each passing day, it's getting worse and worse for them. If they don't get out of Ukraine, then they're going to take a big loss in Ukraine, and all the other problems that can be resolved, Iran, the nuclear issue with Iran, the big one, which should be his focus for the entire administration, which should be Gaza, the two-state solution, Palestine, Israel. That should be his focus. He can't even get to that. And then he has China. And you know, China was not, it wasn't a surprise to us because we were reporting on this during his first term. We actually did videos. If you go way back to the Duran's videos, we actually did videos where we said that Trump in his second term, if he were to win re-election, he's going to manage a divorce with China, but it'll be a managed divorce, and China will be okay with it. China will be okay with it as well, as long as there's dialogue and they both agree how to do it, and there's going to be a decoupling, but it'll be very managed. He didn't get reelected. He's come into office now. He didn't get reelected in 2020. He's come into office now, and he right away he put this tariff war, not only against China but against the world, and it didn't go well in the beginning, and then all the focus started to shift on China. At first he made it this Global Liberation Day. It didn't go as he was expecting it to go, and then everyone shifted onto China, and they made it about China. I don't think it started off about China. It wasn't about China in the beginning, but because it wasn't going so well, and the countries weren't folding as perhaps his team thought they would, they decided to spin it. Once again, it's all about spin, and they spinned it into a U.S.-China thing. But it didn't start out like that, and I think this is the problem that Trump has in his first 100 days, is that he's getting bad advice. People are telling him things are going to be easier than they actually are. He seems to be in a rush to do things, especially with foreign policy, not understanding that things take time. And when things go bad and when things are not working out the way his advisors have told him it's going to work out, they then spin it into this different thing, and they try to put different optics on it. It's not working.
You know, when I moved to Europe in 2015, we were more or less in the era of Assad. We had a lot of. I was in Switzerland, and we had a lot of refugees from Syria arriving every now and then. Back at the time, I remember that when I left Brazil, Russia was helping, the United States to fight ISIS, basically. When I arrived a 14-hour flight, when I arrived in Switzerland, Russia was bombing Aleppo. You understand the spin narrative at that time, it wasn't very well tuned. When the SMO started, I saw this perfectly tuned spin of narrative. You could go to Brazilian outlet, you could go to Greek outlet, Italian, anywhere. It was very well organized. This is the narrative. This is what you can say. This is what you cannot say. And we saw this on YouTube. They worked very hard to get that. My impression is that the house of cards was collapsing, and now they just do not have any more grip over any narrative. They are just, as I said, Trump is in a rush because he has 4 years to do something. He's doing everything wrong, trying to fix something. Well, not everything, but he's just doing in a rush things that need time, as perfectly put. And I and people that came here, we discussed this over and over again. This is the general view, the situation that the United States is now is not unreversible, unreverse gear, but by the Durham Marsh, links on the description, like the Greek flag Durham t-shirt that Alex is wearing now. They do not reverse. They can't reverse the situation. The United States could be reversed the situation, and I believe that this divorce. This is one thing that I've been also saying here. We are watching a divorce from the United States and China, and this is creating all the movements in the global, geopolitics. This could have been controlled, and it's necessary. If you open the Atlas of Economic Complexity, you see that the United States has $1 trillion deficit on the trading. They have to stop spending, and they have to produce more. The guy just said this the other day. The perfect scenario is that we produce more, China buys more, and then China produces less and sells less. Did you talk to the Chinese if that's interesting for them? So it just looks like me, we, mine. What movie was that? Hook.
Ah, yeah. Yes.
Me, mine. That's true. And they are just not paying attention.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They got some quick wins, and I think this kind of distorted maybe Trump's view of things. For example, the border, I think, was very quickly resolved. It was a huge problem under Biden for 3 years. And then Trump came in, and it seems like he solved it. That's the way it looks to me. Maybe I could be wrong about this, but it does look like Trump solved it pretty quick. Most of it. Not all of it, but very quick. Within a month. We're not even talking about the border. It looks like that issue has been solved. The whole woke, DEI stuff, all of that stuff, that was solved very quickly. I'm saying, whether you agree with these things or not, I'm saying these are the campaign promises that Trump made. And on these issues, in his first 100 days, he knocked them out pretty quicker than I think most people who voted for Trump expected. Right. So I think if you voted for Trump on his platform of say the border and woke and DEI, all of these things that he was campaigning on, you probably saw, wow, he's solving these things super quick. And he did come into office, and there was a lot of activity, and Doge and all of that stuff. We got all these big announcements from Doge. We're cutting USAID, and we're doing all these things. Great. But with foreign policy, it's not moving only at the U.S.'s pace. You're dealing with complex issues. You're dealing with issues that some of them are very, very long-running issues. And you have to talk to the other countries, and you have to talk to the other powers, and you have to figure out what's going on with them. And it just seems like Trump was looking for quick ways out, and the people advising him led him to believe that these are quick ways out. And much like in his first term, where he believed people like Bolton, to his detriment, to his downfall, really, these people actually brought him down. Pompeo and Bolton, all these guys, he's very much in the same situation, it seems. He's got the Kellogg's, the Mike Waltz. Look what happened with Waltz. All these people, Lindsey Graham, all these people who are telling him the wrong things. But he's
what
going.
Do they call Lindsey Graham now?
Bone Crusher.
I heard another nickname. I will not repeat it.
There's all. Believe my nickname is very flattering for Lindsey Graham. Believe me, if I was Lindsey Graham, I would jump on the nickname that I'm giving him. I would say, yeah, that's that. I want that nickname.
Give me that. Give me
that nickname
in case I lose one.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham, for example, is telling Trump, let's put 500% secondary tariffs on anyone that buys Russian oil and gas. It's a stupidity. This is stupid stuff. But Trump hears these things and he says, yeah, okay. And what does he do? He tweets. What's it called on Truth Social? I don't know. He posts about it.
He truths it.
He truths it. And he says, yeah, if Russia doesn't agree to a ceasefire, we're going to place big banking and secondary sanctions. What banking and secondary sanctions are you going to place on Russia, man? You got like 500,000 sanctions on them, and their economy continues to grow. But he's hearing these things, and it sounds really good. And so he's saying, yeah, I'll do that, or that's what we're going to do. This is not how you run foreign policy.
I don't know why, since I mentioned Gonzalo Lira, I don't know why these days I was, just going through my initial page of YouTube. That's always, your video, the Duran, Alexander, and then, the new Atlas, all these guys, the Judge Napolitana. At some point, it gave me a 3 year ago video from Gonzalo Lira. And I watched that, and that was a video 3 years ago talking about the probable China trade war. And I was like, I should rewatch and react to the videos of Gonzalo Lira because they were good. And then I searched for, Coach Red Pill videos, and I found one very interesting video where on Rumble. They are not on YouTube anymore, on Rumble. Where he was saying that the dynamics of geopolitics are very much like the high school teenager dynamics. You have the goth, you have the intelligence, the super intelligence, or the nerds, or the sports guys, and the beautiful women, all those things. And I was watching these days your show, and you were saying about Trump, and it was very interesting to me. I started to pay attention like this on things that he said. That Trump listens to something he doesn't know, he has no idea, and he just spins it out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
he just spit it out.
The last thing someone tells him.
The last thing
is what he spits out. Yeah, it's exactly what's happening, and it's chaotic. It's chaotic, but that it's very true. I think a lot of times, as analysts, a lot of times analysts are overthinking what's going on, and you overthink, and then you come up with these very intricate ideas and these 5 and 10D chess moves that are being done, always forgetting that at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, and people in politics are usually very insecure people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the people in politics, I'll tell you this from a European perspective, having contact with in the past with various politicians, you're not dealing with the smartest of people either. I'm not saying they're dumb, but these aren't geniuses either. These aren't people that are writing books on geopolitics or foreign policy. These aren't professor minds, like the minds of a very smart professor, like someone like Jeffrey Sachs, who has a brilliant mind as an economist and as a professor. The politicians, especially in Europe, are not at this level. Not at all. They're not historians. They know very little about history. These are, many times you're dealing with some very insecure people who somehow stumbled into politics because they thought it would be a very good way to make money. I'm telling you right now, in Greece and Cyprus, people that get into politics do politics because they're not good at anything else, and they realize this is a great way to make a lot of money, man, without having to be an entrepreneur, without having to do a business, without having to bust my ass 16 hours a day in this business and marketing and product development. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I just have to get into a party. Maybe I've got the gift of the gab. Things. Yeah, I, know how to network. And who knows, I could be the Minister of Foreign Affairs one day. And that's when the big bucks are rolling in. And so these are people that are making decisions. And I think this is the type of people that we're dealing with in today's world. I think it was a different situation 30, 40 years ago. Back then we had, real serious people. and real serious minds. But now it's Big Brother, man. It's
Big Brother.
That's what it is.
Brother.
That's what it is. And so, we were talking about Zelensky the other day, me and Alexander, and Alexander made some points about Zelensky. And I said, you know what, Alexander, you're right. When it comes to the Europeans, they are in awe of Zelensky. That's a lot of the reason why they are supporting him so much, is because they look at him and they say, wow, he was an actor.
A movie star.
Yeah, a movie star. He had a TV show. My God, he had a TV. I can't believe that. Wow. Trudeau and Macron are saying, if I only had a TV show. And then he went into politics. My God, and he's got this outfit and he's got this persona. I wish I had an outfit and a character. Yeah, and they really are looking at him in awe in this way, because they're in such a bubble, without realizing that the rest of the world is laughing at them. But they don't realize that, because they're stuck in this little bubble, and they're in that bubble 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it really is a high school. Yeah. It really is a dysfunctional, chaotic, dangerous high school environment. And we have to live through it. Us as normal, everyday working people, we have to go through the little cliques and groups that are fighting between these politicians. And then you have serious people like Putin and guys who are real serious people.
I was about to get to this point, which was kind of, because we're about 1 hour. How long do you still have, sir?
I've got time, yeah. I've got time, yeah.
All right, cool, great. The conversation is amazing.
Conversation is going good, yeah.
And I'm really not good.
I've got like 20 minutes. Is that good?
Yeah. 5 minutes is awesome. 20 is fantastic. So let's pivot to this part, the serious people. And I'm going to put BRICS here. Mm-hmm. But as from a BRICS member, Brazil, I have some, doubts about Brazil. And I would like to see your perspective on how these people are, looking at all those things. Brazil is kind of in the middle of this, really in the middle. It's in the middle of the shooting. And it looks a little bit like a blind guy in the middle of a shooting. So how do you see the BRICS reacting to this? China, Russia, mostly. Now we have India with Pakistan. Serious situation. Another fire. How do you see these guys reacting and looking at this and thinking, dear Lord?
I think Brazil is very committed to BRICS. I think if you were either talking about Bolsonaro or Lula, they both were committed to BRICS. Even Bolsonaro did not pull out of BRICS.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think I think the political leadership in Brazil understands the importance of BRICS, and they understand that the momentum is there. The problem that Brazil has, I think one of the big setbacks for Brazil, and this was, I think, a big setback that a lot of people don't talk about, was the fact that Argentina pulled out of BRICS. I mean, I know that Brazil and Argentina are not, the best of allies either, but I think it was important to have another big country in the region enter BRICS, because Brazil is kind of its own island now in BRICS. It's kind of distant from BRICS in a way. Mm-hmm. And what they were aiming for, and there were a lot of doubts about Argentina. There were a lot of doubts in the other BRICS country about Argentina, because they were going to go through the election, and it was possible that Milei was going to come in, and everyone was kind of skeptical about it. But they said, you know what, we need to get another foothold in the region. This will strengthen Brazil. It'll further move BRICS into that hemisphere. And I think that's how they were looking at it. And then when Argentina pulled out, I think that was a setback. So you still have Brazil on its own in a way. I believe you do have partner countries now in the region that I think Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken, Bolivia.
Yes, which is, well, I'm not super keen in geopolitics, but the guys that I have here, for example, they mentioned that Bolivia is kind of the heartland of South America.
Yeah, yeah. So you have partner
Exactly.
I don't think they're I don't think they're going for full membership yet, but they are in the partner program, which is good. But I think there's a lot more headway that needs to be made in South America, and I think that will strengthen Brazil's position. It'll give Brazil more confidence, I believe, and I think that for China, it's extremely important for China to make more solid inroads. But of course, you always have the problem that China's over there, and now you have the United States up there, and the United States is looking at all of this as their territory, as their backyard. The question is, how far does it stretch? How far does the U.S.'s backyard stretch? Is it just going to Canada and maybe Mexico? Is Trump looking at Greenland? He's looking at the Panama Canal. Is he going further south? There's another thing. Brazil's a big country. It's a big country. It's a potentially very powerful country.
Yeah.
It's if there's one country that can assert some sort of pushback, some sort of sovereignty against, say, the U.S. If the U.S. does say, well, we're looking at the entire Northern South America as our backyard, I think it's Brazil that could say, wait a minute, we've got a say here as well.
Yeah.
We're going to see how it unfolds. I will make one more comment. When it came to Zelensky, it was Lula who figured out Zelensky very early on. And the reports are that Zelensky sent Lula 7, 8 letters to meet with him. And Lula was like, you're a joker. You're a clown. Get out of here. So, I mean, I know Lula he gets a lot of praise. He also gets a lot of criticism, but he's very clever.
No, he's I always say that he's not smart. He's clever.
He's clever.
Yeah. He's like, a tuna fish. Yeah. It's hard to grab.
He figured Zelensky out early.
Just recently, there was this story that the Italian whatever dude was sent to talk in the name of Zelensky, and Lula just said, get the hell out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah. So I mean, I think Brazil's gonna be fine within BRICS. I just think that the BRICS nations, and I think they understand this. They're focusing on the region, and they're trying to figure out ways to strengthen their position in the region. You're going to have to work with the United States on this. I really wish the Trump administration would understand the importance of BRICS as well. In that, for the United States, it's not about Europe anymore. I mean, what the United States should do is they should look at working with BRICS in a way. I know it's an impossible ask. And I'm being naive. But I think for a better future for the U.S. would definitely be to try and find a way to cooperate with BRICS, and understand that Europe is a hot mess, and it's going to need decades and decades to fix.
You are absolutely right on your reading. I will add one thing. When you think about that, take this in consideration. We had, when Bolsonaro was elected, we had Trump on the United States. For 2 years, it was, Trump. He kind of left BRICS aside a little bit. And then when Biden won, he became, fatherless. That was the dynamics. Then he ran to BRICS. Then he came out with all these comments because, he's very right-wingish, capitalism against communism, those 70s and 60s stuff. And then he went to China and said, oh, I'm in a very capitalistic country, which 5 minutes before it was not. And he went to Putin and got some oil deals, some diesel deals, good for Brazil, good for everybody. To his credit. He did something decent. Then Lula got elected, and it was Biden. And Lula was, playing a very hard game. I give that to Lula. It's a very hard game there. As you said, I always say that. Brazil is in a separate rock from the rest of BRICS. because Africa, Asia, and Europe, you can walk by. America is a different rock, and we have the great Satan in the top of it. But as soon as Trump won again, Lula kind of became fatherless on that. Then he starts pivoting to BRICS again. And with these tariffs that Trump put also in Brazil, it was 10%. It was not a biggie, but it was tariffs on Brazil. That kind of started pushing, even the U.S. cheerleaders from the Brazilian politics started being pushed on China's direction as well. We just had, the concierge of geopolitical affairs of the president. It's not an official, but his personal concierge, Celso Amorim, some months ago, just after the Valdai meeting, he said, "Oh no, this Silk and Road, this Belt and Road initiative, not interesting to Brazil." Just this day, he was, I never said it wasn't interesting. We should start building now. So we see that there now. With some luck, Trump continues doing what he's doing, and Brazil can kind of, break free from this situation.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's actually a very interesting point about Bolsonaro and Lula. You know what it highlights? It highlights that that countries are understanding that when you're dealing with the United States, you're dealing with a 4-year cycle. Mm-hmm. And you think that you have something going for 4 years, and then it changes, and everything's been flipped around. And so you don't really have the stability or the predictability, like Putin was saying. The predictability is important. The stability is important, and I think that's why BRICS is so powerful and is so appealing, in that it provides stability and predictability without the lecturing and without the ideology. It doesn't matter if you're left or right or center. The BRICS countries really don't care. What they're interested in is the development, the economic development of this organization, and the ideology is irrelevant. Where the collective West is very much, it's morphed into. It didn't used to be like this, but it really has morphed into an ideological project. Trump, less so. Trump is more of a transactional type of guy, right? So he's looking at things not from ideology, like Biden and Blinken and Sullivan and all these guys. He's looking at things more from the lens of a transaction. But still, it's that predictability and stability that you just don't have if you're Brazil. You're saying today it's Biden, tomorrow it's Trump, the day after tomorrow it's Vance, or maybe it's Harris or Newsom. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you don't know. and they bring in a whole different dynamics. Yeah. And so, I think for the United States, in all honesty, for the U.S., for the American people, for the future of the United States, I really think that if they could put the ideology and the empire of the neocon empire thinking, they can somehow remove that, they could actually benefit from working with BRICS. You don't have to be a member, but it will provide a lot of stability if you have the powers, the big powers involved in this organization, the U.S. working with this organization known as BRICS. I think it will provide a lot of stability, not only to the world, but also to the United States in a way. But you have to get rid of the neocons. You have to get rid of the neoliberals. It's not only the neocons, it's the neoliberals. You have to somehow find a way to get past that. I don't think that can happen. I think it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't know how that happens, but if you can do that, then I think that you can get a lot of stability in the world. But unfortunately, I think it's a big ask.
The colonialist, exceptionalist mindset. They just have to get rid of that. It's not that hard, but
a lot of that's in Europe. A lot of that's the influence of Europe.
All roads take to London.
Yeah,
The
exactly. You
book
gotta
experiment.
somehow distance yourself from that European thinking.
Yeah, that's it. Alex, I want to get you out of here because I know that you're at time, but I have one last point. If you give me 5 minutes, that's very extremely important for this live stream today. What about Podoljak?
Podoljak. He's Zelensky's rock, his best buddy. Podoljak. I look at them as a comedy team in a way. Like Zelensky's the crazy guy, and Podoljak's just kind of his sidekick who's shackled to this nutty president, and he's just kind of the normal sidekick who has to deal with this guy and all the crazy things that he does and says. He's a character, but it goes back to what you said. You're dealing with, the way I deal with these leaders right now is in my head. I assign them a type of character. Yeah, it's like a show, and they're all part of this show. And I think that's the only way you can deal with them.
Exactly. I figure out, Zelensky voice is just like Watto from Tatooine.
Yeah,
the killer.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I look at someone like Ursula, and I think of when she speaks, I think of like Beavis from the cartoon days. It's just her body, the way she moves her body, the way she moves. There's certain things that come to mind, when I see these people, or Kaya Callis, who's this
stunning and brave.
Yeah, stunning and brave, because she's this incredible figure who's made it to the top. She finally made it as foreign minister against all odds. But when you look at her background, it's it's all fake. It's all fake. Yeah.
I liked Cookie Newland.
Yeah, Cookie Newland.
Was what was it? Just a small town
Small town girl. Yeah. I remember the exact video when I said that. I was walking in Athens, and I was talking about, I believe it was about Nord Stream and Newland. And I was, what I was thinking about? I was thinking about Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
And I was thinking about when Hannibal Lecter goes to Clarice, and he says, you made it all the way to the FBI, right? He says that line to her, Jodie Foster. And I was thinking about Newland. I was thinking, man, I bet you when she was growing up, her one dream was to make it all the way to the State Department, to get all this power, to make it all the way to the State Department. And then I don't know, the Journey song just kind of came to my head. Don't stop believing. I don't know. It just kind of came out of my mind. These are the dumb things that I say, which is why I say I just say dumb things.
No, but those dumb things are fantastic. You know who I think when I think about Cookie Newland? Kathy Bates.
They do look similar, huh?
They do look on that. What's the name? I don't know the name of the movie in
Misery.
English. The one that she breaks.
Yeah,
the
where
foot
she
of the
captures
guy.
the author. Yeah, it was a Stephen King book. Yeah, Misery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I look at it.
I'd rather deal with Kathy Bates. That's for sure. That is for sure.
No, it's your characters. I kind of try to. I'm not that good, but Ursula, for example, Ursula van der Crazy. I called her Ursula van der Leyen because it works for Brazilian, because it's a dual name. But I found out that her middle name is Gertrudes. That's even funnier. Yeah,
Is it really?
Ursula Gertrudes van der Leyen. It's even funnier, Gertrudes. I remember Woody Woodpecker Tree. I don't know if you watched this.
Yeah.
There was
I
this
love Woody
streak.
Woodpecker.
Oh, Gertrude. In Portuguese, at least, it was Gertrude.
They try so hard to be these all powerful people. They end up looking just ridiculous because they're just not authentic. They're just not authentic. There's nothing authentic about all these people. They really are plucked out of movies and cartoons, and their whole character has been scripted and assembled. Yeah, I mean, Zelensky still doesn't wear a suit. You can wear a suit now, my guy. You can wear a suit. Believe me, it's okay.
Even Al-Jolani, they put him on a suit.
They put him on a suit. Yeah, they put Al-Jolani on a suit. Zelensky still doesn't wear a suit. The whole world gets it now. The whole world gets it. You wore the green because you wanted this Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, revolutionary in a war character. The whole world understands it. The whole world. Okay, we get it.
Get used.
We get it. Now you can go back.
Yeah.
You can go back wearing a suit. But he doesn't want to. It says a lot about his thinking.
Yeah.
And his teams. It says a lot about his team's thinking. Everything is about the script.
Yeah.
Everything's about narrative. That's what it's all about. But reality eventually wins out. It always wins out. Reality always wins out.
It always wins out. That's it. Alex, Christopher, I'm sorry I hold you for too long, but the conversation was very fun.
Yeah, it was
fun. Very good.
Very fun.
Very good. It was really a great pleasure. Hope to have you more times in the channel. Every now and then when you have when you're bored, give me a call. I'm sorry, just chilling. Everybody, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channels. Alex Cristofaro, Alexander Mercury, and D. Duran. It's all links will be on the description. Follow them on dduran.locals.com. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what he's wearing right now on the live stream. Links on the description box below. Below 50% off. Use the code
Spring 15.
Spring 15. I used to like Better Good Day.
Yeah, we'll put that one back.
Put
We'll put that back. Podoljak. You hard to spell it. Podoljak.
That's true. Thank you very much, Alex. It was a great pleasure to meet you. Everybody, see you guys probably tomorrow. And that's it. Bye-bye. If I remember how to finish the video, yeah. Bye-bye.